Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Pratham Test Prep. My name is Hema Chaudhary, and today I'm here with the daily newspaper analysis session. Now, first, we will talk about the series of this session, right? So, if we talk about daily newspaper analysis session, we do it on 5 days a week, which is from Monday to Friday, and at the time is 11:30 a.m. In this session, we covers the most important news from all the major newspapers, right? And mostly those news which are important from the examination point of view. We cover the newspapers, or we can say that we cover the news from the major newspapers like the Hindu and the Indian Express and Economic Times and other newspapers. Now, when we talk about the type of news that we cover in this session, the news are from the national section. Then we can also cover international news, economic and financial news, right? Then we also cover sports news, science and tech, person in news, which can include the news related to, you can say, appointments. We can also focus on the important news from the section called books and authors. Then we also cover summits and conference. Summit and conference की अगर हम बात करें अभी करंट या रीसेंट टाइम की अगर हम बात करें, इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट G20 समिट जो कि सितंबर में होना है इन न्यू दिल्ली, बट इसकी कुछ मीटिंग्स जो हैं दे आर गोइंग ऑन इन गुड़गांव राइट नाउ, राइट? एंड इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट द डेट, ये हमारी चल रही है फ्रॉम 1 to 3 March 2023. सो यहाँ पे एक चीज़ जो हमें याद रखनी है वो ये है दैट इंडिया इज़ करंटली holding the presidency of G20 for the year 2023, right? So G20 के लिए we will have another session, a separate deep dive session on the G20 summit and the ongoing meetings, right? So firstly we'll just focus on the other news here. Then we also cover some miscellaneous news which can cover the news related to art and culture, which can cover the news related to art, different festivals or culture news from different regions of India. इसके अलावा वी ऑल्सो कवर द न्यूज़ रिलेटेड टू बिजनेस एंड इकोनॉमीज. वी कैन ऑल्सो कवर द न्यूज़ रिलेटेड टू अवार्ड्स एंड ऑनर्स. And apart from all these section, we also cover some of the legal news जिसमें आपका bills and amendments आ जाता है, राइट? एंड हम अगर बात करें लीगल न्यूज़ की, तो लीगल न्यूज़ ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है दैट वी कवर द लीगल न्यूज़ ओनली इन दिस सेशन. मोस्टली वी कवर आर लीगल न्यूज़ इन द लीगल दर्पण सीरीज दैट वी आर हैविंग ऑन थ्राइस अ वीक, विच इज़ ऑन Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 3:30 p.m., right? So we will be covering the analysis of all the important news from some of the sections from the set sections. Now if we talk about the beginning of this session, let's just quickly start it with a beautiful quotation which says that if your voice is high, only a few people will hear you, but if your thoughts are high, then many people will listen to you, right? And another beautiful quotation for the student is you need to study hard, right? And when we talk about study hard, no matter if it seems impossible, no matter if it takes time, no matter if you have to up all night, just remember one thing, that the feeling of success, right? This the feeling of success after doing hard work, right, or hard study, it is the best feeling, best thing in the entire world. Now when we talk about study hard, for let's say if we talk about today's generation, it is also important to study smart as well, so that it can lead you towards the success. Now we will just quickly start the important news for this session, but uske alawa I'll just want to give you the information about our other sections also. So we do daily newspaper analysis session, we do deep dive on Tuesday and Thursday for specific topics, and we do the 360 degree, we cover the 360 degree knowledge related to that particular topic. Then we do legal darpan Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 8:30 p.m. We do current affairs samvad to cover the daily or weekly current affairs on Monday and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Then Sometimes we do maths mudda jiski jo date hai that can be declared few days back, few days earlier with the session. Now we also do logical reasoning session and then boost your vocabulary on thrice a week, which is Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. So we are covering almost all the important sections related to the examination point of view. And now we'll start with the first news for today's session, and the news is China may be contemplating the lethal aid to Russia, according to Pentagon. So when we talk about this question, that does China as a nation want to put itself in the camp of those countries that are looking to eliminate Ukraine as a nation and also to kill innocent people? So there is a question on that. And why? Because there are indications that China जो है it is contemplating the lethal aid to Russia in its war against Ukraine, right? And it also joined the Biden's we can say John Biden's administrative chorus that there would be consequences to such a move by Beijing. Then we can also say that there are indication that they are contemplating that. And यहाँ पे अगर हम बात करें statement by the Pentagon press secretary, you need to remember the name is Brigadier General Pat Ryder. तो इनकी statement release हुई है that he said that he is not going to have any further information in that regard or any additional intelligence to talk about beyond the fact that they haven't taken it off the table. Also they want to be clear, crystal clear, that there would not be a poor decision and they will take the decisions widely, right? So now when we talk about this, the consequences will be that it will extend this conflict needlessly, right? The conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and it will result in the killing of more and more innocent people as Russia continues to wage its campaign against the Ukrainian citizens. Also responding to a question, Mr. Ryder said that if China were to provide aid, the lethal aid to Russia, it would significantly or has the potential to significantly extend the conflict again and again. And इससे क्या हो रहा है that it is supporting the Russia's aim of eliminating Ukraine as a country. Right? Now, if we talk about Mr. Ryder, he also said the question that does China as a nation want to put itself in the camp of those countries that are looking to eliminate Ukraine as a nation and also to kill innocent people, or they just want to do what they say they are all about, which is respecting the sovereignty of all countries. Now, there is a huge question on this thing for China, right? And obviously it is upon China that how they will clear this confusion on the image of China by supporting Russia against the Ukraine. Right now, next, if we talk about another news, we can say that investigation completed into mid-air collision between two IAF fighters. So the news was about the collision of two IAF fighters जिसका कि investigation चल रहा था and उसकी report release हुई है. And these two IAF fighters were Su-30 MKI and another was Mirage 2000, right? So they both crash mid-air while practicing their close combat, right, along with a third aircraft, right? So basically when we talk about this incident, we can say that this incident was about the accident involving two IAF fighter jets named Su-30 MK and Mirage 2000, and that was complete and the investigation is now complete and the court of inquiry findings will be sent to the air headquarters after due process, right? And that was the case of mid-air collision during the close combat maneuvers. Right now, when we talk about the court of inquiry, that is complete and the findings are with the command, and after requisite processing, it will be sent to air headquarters, right? And it will be having the information regarding the exact reason behind the incident that will be revealed by the inquiry findings. And sources said that the two fighter jets crashed mid-air while practicing this along with a third aircraft, right? And when we talk about the pilot of the third jet, they are the key witness in the inquiry in addition to the flight data recorders and other digital evidence, and the two pilots of the ill-fated aircraft who ejected safely after the crash. right? So these three pilots of three aircraft will be the main key witness in relation to the inquiry of this crash, right? And on the morning of January 28th, the two ill-fated aircraft along with another fighter jet took off from the Gwalior Air Base. So that was the news of 28th January. But here we are talking about the news, right, which was about the inquiry, which is, we can say, completed and the report is being sent, right? And that was happened in Gwalior Air Base in the state Madhya Pradesh on a close combat training mission, right? And when we talk about the jets, the Mirage crashed immediately in Morena, resulting in the death of the Wing Commander Hanuman Nath Rao Sarthi, while the Sukhoi flew from some distance and crashed in Bharatpur, Rajasthan, giving time for the two pilots to eject safely, right? So you need to remember this name, you need to remember the places where the Mirage crashed and the Sukhoi plane crashed, right, jet crashed. So you need to remember the name, Morena and Bharatpur in Rajasthan, right? So this is important, and you should also remember the name of the wing commander who died in this crash. Now when we talk about the Gwalior Air Base, Gwalior Air Base is the home to IAF's Mirage 2000 fleet as well as the primary training establishment of the tactics and air combat development establishment, right? And when we talk about this, it is also equivalent to the US Navy's Top Gun Academy. Here we are talking about Gwalior Air Base. So because we are covering the 360-degree knowledge of this particular news, so this is important that you should have the knowledge about the Gwalior Air Base. Now, if we talk about the number of aircraft accident that has reduced from an average of 13 accident per year in 11th plan, which was from 2017 to 2012, it is now being reduced to an average of 8 accidents per year in the 12th 5-year plan, which was from 2012 to 2017. And यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं 5-year plans में जो हुआ था ना. 5-year plans, you should know that जो पहले प्लानिंग कमीशन बनाता था, now planning commission has been replaced by नीति आयोग, एंड जहाँ पहले प्लानिंग कमीशन के थ्रू 5-year plans बनते थे, अब यहाँ पे प्लानिंग की जगह पे नीति आयोग की तरफ से होती है पॉलिसी मेकिंग. Now, if we talk about the 13th 5-year defense plan, so now we don't have any as such 13th 5-year plan, but we have 13th 5-year defense plan. Now, the aim is of the average 6 accident per year have been taken place, right? And in the last financial year 2020-2021, the accident rate was the lowest in the past 50 years. So this data is very important from the examination point of view. Now if we compare the safety records in a block of 5 years, it is evident that the data given below, that accident rates have been decreased considerably in the last 20 years, or you can say last 2 decades. Now let's move on to the third important news. So if we talk about this, Britain की अगर हम बात करें, it will appoint tech envoy to Indo-Pacific region with the focus on India. The statement was given by UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, and if we talk about British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly, right, so he holded the bilateral discussion with his counterpart S. Jaishankar, जिसको हम बोल सकते हैं External Affairs Minister of India. So S. Jaishankar is External Affairs Minister of India. So he had a bilateral discussion, right, with James Cleverly, who is the British Foreign Secretary, right, prior to Thursday's G20 meeting. So G20 meeting जो कल हुई है, उससे पहले ये मीटिंग हो चुकी है. एंड देन इफ वी टॉक अबाउट यूके's फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी, जिनका नाम मैं ऑलरेडी 2 बार रिपीट कर चुकी हूँ, जेम्स क्लेवरली अनाउंस्ड ऑन 1 मार्च दैट ब्रिटेन विल अपॉइंट अ टेक एनवॉय टू इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन, जिसका मेन फोकस किस पे होगा, इंडिया पे. एंड द यूके फॉरेन एंड कॉमनवेल्थ एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफिस. Now India is also an emerging global leader on technology mainly. That is the reason that there are immense opportunities for better collaboration between India and UK in the sector of technology. And that is why Britain will be bashing the their first tech envoy to Indo-Pacific region to maximize the tech expertise of both the countries. And this statement was given by James Cleverly, who was in New Delhi for the G20 foreign ministers meeting, right? And this is the second such appointment for the UK. A British tech envoy to US was already appointed in 2020 and it is based in San Francisco now, and second appointment will be for Indo-Pacific. So यहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं टेक envoy to the Indo-Pacific region, जिसका main focus होगा on India. Right now, if we talk about British Foreign Secretary, he is also holding a bilateral discussion. Already held the bilateral discussion with India's External Affairs Minister S. Shankar on March 1st prior to G20 meeting, and they are expected to discuss the 2030 roadmap for deepening of bilateral ties between the two countries, India and UK. Now, if we talk about India and UK, they are also working on a free trade deal with 7 rounds of talks done and 8th round planned for end of the March. And they have also announced a scheme for young professionals which will give around 3,000 Indians and 3,000 Britishers or Britons a pathway to live and work in each other's country for up to 2 years. So this is a scheme which is being planned for the young professionals from both the countries. Now, when we talk about James Cleverly, he will mark the launch of this scheme on a visit to the Indian Institute of Technology, which is IIT Delhi, right? And already had the visit on that, and he announced the mark of the launch of that particular scheme related to the young professionals. Now, next news, if we talk about, it is by the statement, it is related to the statement given by PM Modi. As per Modi, the well-planned cities will determine fate of the country. So when we talk about our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he said that India urbanizing rapidly, and it is very important to build the infrastructure that is futuristic and also that is, where we can say that manageable with the well-planned cities. So Narendra Modi ne on the 1st March, he said that well-planned Indian cities will determine the fate of the country, and he addressed a post-budget webinar on urban planning, development and sanitation. And in this webinar, he said that India is urbanizing rapidly and it is important to build infrastructure that is futuristic in nature. The well-planned cities of India will only determine the fate of India, and that is why it is very important to focus on these well-planned cities. When planning is better, the cities will become climate resilient. They will become, we can say, water secure by having more water resources and the resources for the prevention or protection of water and also the reservation of water. He also listed 3 focus areas for urban planning and development which we need to focus. The first is how to strengthen the urban planning ecosystem in states. Second, how to better utilize the expertise available in private sector for urban planning. And third, how to develop such centers of excellence which can take urban planning to next level. And when we talk about this, the government has organized a series of post-budget webinars, out of which one of the webinar was urban planning, development and sanitation. Basically, these webinars are planned to seek ideas and suggestions from different ministers and we can say diplomats for the effective implementation of the initiative launched in the Union Budget 2023. So यूनियन बजट तो अनाउंस हो चुका है, अब उसको कैसे इफेक्टिवली इंप्लीमेंट किया जा सके राइट इन डिफरेंट एरियाज, उसके लिए काफ़ी सारे वेबिनार्स कंडक्ट करवाए जा रहे हैं जिनको हम पोस्ट वेबिनार सीरीज ऑफ पोस्ट वेबिनार्स, पोस्ट बजट वेबिनार्स बोल सकते हैं, जिसमें से वन ऑफ द मेन वेबिनार वाज ऑन द अर्बन प्लानिंग, डेवलपमेंट एंड सैनिटेशन. Now let's move on to the next news. The news is related to the hike in the prices of cooking gas. So if we talk about cooking gas prices, they hiked by rupees 50 for domestic and rupees 350.50 for commercial cylinders. So household will now have to pay more for LPG cylinders as the new prices come into effect from March 1st. Right, so if we talk about the price of 14.2 kg domestic LPG, which stands for liquefied petroleum gas, and 19 commercial cylinders have been hiked with effect from March 1st, right? And the hike for domestic consumers will be rupees 20 per cylinder, and it will be rupees 350.50 per bottle or cylinder for consumer use, right? And commercial consumers use. Now in Chennai, the new price of cooking gas used in kitchens would be rupees 1118.50 per cylinder, and commercials used in restaurants and industries would be 2268 per bottle or cylinder. The retail selling price per domestic cylinder in Delhi will be 1103, and it will be for commercial cylinders 2119.50. The last time that the domestic cylinder prices were rise was in July 2022. That means बहुत कम time में ही फिर से prices को बढ़ा दिया गया है. Now next, if we talk about India's electricity consumption, it has been increased over 9% to 107.84 million units in just February, and experts say that power consumption and demands are expected to increase due to heat wave forecast during this summer, right? So if we talk about India's power consumption, it has been logged a year-on-year growth of over 9% to 117.84 billion units used in February this year, and this is according to the government data. The robust growth of power consumption, it indicated the sustained momentum of economic activities in February. Experts also said that power consumption and demand, it would register a substantial increase in March due to further improvement in activities, economic activities, and also the rise in temperature, which will further increase in the month of April, May, and June. So if we talk about February 2020, the power consumption stood at 108.03 billion units, which is higher than the 103.25 billion units in the same month, that means February 2021. Electricity consumption in February 2020 stood at 103.81 billion units. So we can see there is a consistent growth in the power consumption by India in the month of February. So February हम just एक reference के लिए लेके चल रहे हैं, and when we talk about the peak power demand, the peak power demand met, which is highest supply in a day in the month of February, was 209.66 gigawatt, right? And the peak power supply stood at 193.58 gigawatt in February 2022, and the same was 187.97 in February 2021. And the peak power demand met was 176.38 gigawatt in the pre-pandemic February 2020. So we can say that यहाँ पे experts की जो view है that power consumption and demand, उनका ये मानना है that it would log higher growths in the coming months due to forecast of high rising temperature during the summer season, which is compared to last year. So that was our last news for today's session, and in the coming session we will be majorly discussing about the G20 summits and meetings, right? I hope this session was helpful for you, and for more such sessions and more detailed sessions and another sessions like current affairs samvad, legal darpan, vocabulary, legal other legal sessions, right? Maths mudda, the important tips and tricks related to logical reasoning. For all such sessions, what you need to do is you need to subscribe our channel Pratham Test Prep, and if you like the video, what you need to do is like the video, share the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notification of all the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching the video.